Learn how to develop a Division I athlete. Why do you coach? Welcome to the Nick Anthony Show. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Nick.
Nick, how you doing today?
I'm great. Look where we are. We are in Dick's House of Sport, and I am 50 feet from about 10,000 golf clubs, three simulators. I'm going to try not to buy everything on the way out. I've done so well so far, but we have a special guest, so it's even better day.
Yeah,
so
it's special for you in a lot of ways. But I just want to say the same thing. I want to say thank you to Dick's House of Sport for having us. We're in Wilmington, Delaware today, and this place is absolutely amazing. So thank you to the Dick's crew for having us.
Really cool.
And I'm really excited. Why don't you introduce our guest?
Well,
at least her name.
This is Carly. We've talked about her. This is Carly Gannon, my daughter, and we've talked about her at times on many episodes, just kind of a lot of her journey, and she's a big fan. But I think most important, I think when we both talked about having Carl on, was how much I believe her experiences are so relative to what we talk about each day. And obviously I'm biased about everything, but I think Carly offers a lot, and I'm excited. Yeah. Really excited.
Carly,
I'm going to try not to be the proud dad, but I am. So.
Well, I can understand why you're proud. Okay. I mean, her story is amazing. Your background is amazing, Carly. So thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate you. It's a day of gratitude. Dick's House of Sport.
That's good. That's a good theme.
I love Gratitude Day.
That is a very Carly thing.
That's perfect.
So, but you know, your dad's right, and he does brag about you a lot. He brags about all three of his kids, and he brags about you. But you know, so you grew up as a three-sport athlete, right? So I'd love to hear more about those three sports and those kind of things. How you ended up focusing on field hockey, and then your recruiting journey, and how you ended up becoming a D1 player in field hockey, and then ultimately how you became a captain at Penn State. I mean, that's a lofty area. I mean, a lot of athletes would love to become a captain of a D1 team. So I just want to hear more about your journey.
Yeah.
So we can start wherever you want,
All
but
right.
we can start with, an easy one is to start with, what were the three sports you did?
Yeah, great. I like that starting. So field hockey, basketball, and lacrosse were my three sports. And I will say I loved having three sports. And I feel like nowadays, I mean, there's no right or wrong, but I value having my different seasons. Like fall was field hockey, winter was basketball and field hockey, and then spring was lacrosse. And then I had different friends in each. And I don't know. I tend to get bored easily. So I was like, all right, next season, let's go. And I feel like growing up, I loved that change, the change of group, and then change of pace in the different sports. And I also think the three sports physically also just moving in different ways helped me develop as an overall athlete. So I value that. And I think, from whenever I started, kindergarten to 12th grade, I'm so happy I stuck with those sports that whole time.
So I don't know if Nick told you this or not, but I have two kids that are teenagers.
Yeah.
And there's constant pressure on teenagers, not just on my kids, to specialize in one sport.
Yeah.
It sounds as if you're really happy that you didn't do that. But was there a time, I hate to go negative already, but was there a time when that frustrated coaches and at the same time when you weren't focusing on one sport, was there times when people passed you because they were training in the sport more than you were?
Yes.
Yes. Two different questions, but sorry. Yeah.
Yes to both. My crossover, I kind of hinted at it with field hockey, my indoor, and basketball. There was some crossover between those two, and I had to miss some for the other, and I had to prioritize, but I kind of didn't I feel like I didn't do a great job of being like, all right, I'm just doing this. I would kind of go half and half.
Right.
Kind of. I guess I did field hockey a little bit more as I got older. And, but then once I started to kind of be like, all right, field hockey's my thing. I'm going to stick to it. So, and I think some coaches, which I get it, they are the coach for that sport, their team, they care about their team. They may not understand that you have other sports, other commitments. So I do understand that. But for me, it was important to not stick to one.
Right.
But then to your other point about, did I not specializing in one, did that affect kind of whether it's skill or my levels compared to others? Yes. And I feel like I would, especially in high school, I would see these girls who kind of were maybe competing for like the best club, and they were just playing field hockey, and I was like, oh wow, they're like really good. Like I could run, I could defend, but like, could I shoot and score well? Probably not. Like, or as well as others. And there was times where I was like, wow, I wish I kind of played for this club, and I wish I developed my skills better. But then it wasn't. I think when I got to college is when I realized like I'm in the spot where I want to be and dream to be, and everyone is at their place. So like it doesn't matter if you played for this club and you just played this sport, because we're all at the place we're supposed to be. So I think in high school is when I did a lot of that kind of comparing, and I was like insecure. I don't know. I was going to Penn State, which like was amazing, but then I felt this pressure. Like people thought, oh, Penn State, she should be this player and she should know how to do this. And I don't know if I fit the mold necessarily. I didn't, and because I'm going to be honest, I didn't have the best skills, honestly, like field hockey wise.
Right.
I think other things around it, maybe like my competitiveness and fitness maybe was more of a superpower to me. But I would feel self-conscious about not having the best shot or reverse shot, or my pull rights were horrible. Like, so it wasn't until I got to college where I was like, no, the three sports, that was the path I was meant to be on. And I ended up in the place I wanted to be. And I do think that actually allowed me to get there.
So through those emotionally tough times, and I'm sorry, I'm looking off at 10,000 fishing poles right there. That's bizarrely distracting, but it's
I have a better view.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I know,
In my opinion.
You know what?
In my
That worked
opinion.
out really
it did
well.
work out well.
We didn't even plan that. But yeah, your dad looking at golf. Of
course.
Like, I'm surprised he's still in his chair.
Yeah.
But the emotionally hard times when there were these players who were better than you and you weren't focused, right? Did you tell yourself, I'll get there eventually? Or did you just kind of like let it go and you just were you?
I honestly, I don't think I let it go. Or
I meant
think
let
I
it go
was-
and like not let it bother you.
No,
Yeah,
it definitely
yeah.
bothered me. And I think for a while, and then like high school into early college, I did let that affect me. I was almost on I sold myself too short, where I feel like as you get older and you get to college, people kind of have this confidence. Like I was the best player at my high school, I'm going to be the best player in college. I knew I wasn't the best player, and I knew when I got there. So I kind of was like, oh, well, I shouldn't be here. Like I kind of was almost too much on the other side. And I think I got my confidence around my abilities throughout college, honestly. And I'm acting like I was really insecure in high school. I wasn't, but I do feel like that continued
You had
with
these
me.
doubts that all humans have. Yes,
Exactly.
right.
And I do think I did a lot of comparing, but I think that what I'm so grateful for at Penn State and the program and the school is like I found who I was, and like I'm not going to be, the most skilled player who's going to score 10 goals per game, and that's not who I ever thought I was, but I was like, oh, at Penn State, maybe that's what they want. But I found what my role was, what I was supposed to be, and then I was able to embrace, like, I'm not going to be this person, I'm going to be Carly.
Right.
Yeah, and I would add to that.
Yeah.
So
I was actually going to come to you because it reminded me of something you said in episode 15. But go ahead.
God, you know the number. I've talked a little bit about being an alpha, and I don't know if that's what you were going to go
Yes,
to.
that's exactly where I was
it's
going to go. Yep.
And Carly's never been an alpha.
Well, we're
just
going to get there because she ended up as captain. So there's some alpha in her. There's no doubt.
But, it was she, in weird ways, I would say, you correct me if I'm wrong, that you never were that kid that like was comfortable scoring 8 goals. Like even if you could, it was almost like I'm the ball, I'm hogging the ball, I'm doing things.
Right.
So I would say you're, in high school, you actually probably were even more of a distributor than such, so.
Kind of like a point guard. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know
in certain ways, it was
sport.
like it was like I'm going to guard the best player, and the ball is going to go through me, but I'm not going to be necessarily the one that scores the goals, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
But even in lacrosse, I would, the over, I don't know, over parenting dad, I would be like, go to the goal, like
I'd be right in front. And
like go to the goal. Like you just shoot it, So
you wouldn't yell that though, would you?
no,
Okay.
no. Just talk about it in the car on the way home, which Chris Bates told us not to do. Yes,
right, yeah.
But yeah, so I think it was the alpha beta type of, and so what I was going to relate that is to, and I want to kind of like talk a little bit about we talk about some of the ebbs and flows, but is to roll into some of the recruiting. But I would say, Carly had looked at some other schools where I think those schools would have looked at her to be an alpha. And I don't think she would have been able to succeed. I think she went to the right place at the right level in the right role. And that's is very, you're very, thankful for that, I think,
Right.
and really, yes. So I would say those are interesting, I don't know, factors when we're talking about parents and coaches recruiting, and just like, are you trying to make them into something they're really not meant to be?
Yeah.
Right. Not just position, offense, defense, whatever, attack, midfield, but are you actually asking them to do something? And sometimes you are, sometimes you don't know. Maybe Carly could be an alpha. And some coach could bring that out of her. So I don't want to act like good coaching can't do that too. But
but no, it takes a team, and I think that what you emphasize in episode 15 is that the people that only learn to be alphas can't necessarily fit into the next level.
Yep.
Totally,
Like you might be an alpha at middle school, and then go to high school already, and then now there's alphas from the 3 different middle schools.
Yeah,
right.
We used to
Can
talk
you
about
adjust,
that.
right? And then high school, and then on to college the same way.
Yeah.
So you've talked about that before, and it sounds like you've lived it.
We'll be right back to the Nick Anthony Show.
Today's show is brought to you by John Gannon Music, genre-exploding music for your daily adventures. Visit johngannon.bandcamp.com. That's johngannon.bandcamp.com, and look for it on all music streaming platforms.
Welcome back to the Nick Anthony Show.
Mm-hmm. So before we go into recruiting, though, can we talk about a couple of lessons that you learned? Like, you obviously learned a lot from your dad. I know your grandfather was a coach too, right? So you probably learned a lot of universal truths from him. But
her mother was an athlete too. Go ahead. Her mother was an athlete too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry,
Mom.
We don't want to shortchange that. I know where she is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But so you had a lot of influence within your family of athletic success and how to compose yourself and all that kind of stuff. But how about somebody who wasn't in your family? Do you have like a life lessons that you learned before Penn State that you want to share?
I mean, okay, so can I ask, like, coaches, or do you mean like anyone outside?
Just any story, right? Just anything. So
she's like, I have 30 cousins, I have 600 uncles and aunts, and like everyone in my life, and 4 grandparents. Like, so that's what I'm thinking. You're processing, but no, I mean, there were some coaching,
right? And your cousin was here, and he was telling me, a little while ago watching the show, and he has an incredible coaching background. His son's a coach, so you're right. I didn't mean to ask you a gotcha question.
No, I know you didn't. I know. I know. I'm trying to think, because I do feel like a lot what I learned, especially growing up, was from my parents' family with their sports and coaching background, and even like my dad being at Drexel, kind of being young and watching Drexel games. I didn't really know, and when I was very young, when we would go to different sports, I didn't really know anything about anything, but kind of I liked watching the coaches and their players and that interaction. And then like, I kind of liked also.
You're like me.
Yeah.
That's the most fascinating part of the game to me.
Isn't
is
it?
watching that interaction.
Right. Because they, as like a, 7-year-old, the players and the coaches seem like superstars and they can't be real people. And then when you would see them on the court, and then sometimes we'd meet them after the game, and I was like, oh, this is cool. They're cool people. They're normal people.
Right.
And like to your point or to your question, I don't know if that like shaped anything, or maybe it did.
Oh, it sounds like it did a lot,
subconsciously.
actually. Yeah. Right.
And I just got pieces here and there from the different sports because we went to all different ones. And even like I admired some of these Drexel athletes.
Right.
And like, it's so funny, like, because now, I went on to become a college athlete, but I still think that, this women's soccer player that I adored is like the most superstar ever. And she was just like a 23-year-old, just whatever. But it was cool to see that they're, real people who like to compete, who like to be on a team. And I was so young, I don't think I realized that until I started to get older.
Right.
And maybe I was like, oh, that looks fun. That looks cool. But again, I'm thinking about it now.
Right.
Like, I think it was just subconscious, like feeling,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Right. No, just being in the right environment.
When did it
Yeah.
click in that you wanted to be a college athlete?
Oh, it's funny. Like I was thinking about this on the way here. I'm like, when did things kind of like start? And it's reminding me of the Gina Buggy interview where it's like, when did she want to become a Olympian? It wasn't like a lifelong dream. Because I'm trying to pinpoint like the moment. I feel like it just flowed. Like I knew I was an athlete. I knew I loved to play sports. And that was just like what I did. It just like, we did the
Right.
3 sports. We did all that, whatever. And then I think at one point my mom like suggested club lacrosse and club field hockey. And again, I really don't think I was like with the intent to play in college necessarily. Like,
Right.
of course there was. I don't think they would spend that money for me to just like have fun. But like, no, I'm just
Actually, I think they would.
I guess they would have. But then I think that's kind of what you did when you
Right.
were joining club. And I think then it became to a point, it's like, I can't see my life without whatever sport it was.
Without
I mean, it was
sport.
lacrosse and field hockey that I was
Right.
thinking about. And I can't see my life without it. It wasn't as much like, at first, it wasn't as much like I had this goal to go here and to play
Right,
this. It was
right.
more like, wow, this is I love having sports in my life.
Right.
Why not continue it? And then it started to get like more specific, like with the recruiting process, with the picking your list of schools and then
Right.
the coaches and all that stuff. But I think it started as just like, this is what I love to do. Why
Gotcha.
don't I just continue?
So let's dive into your recruiting journey then.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? How'd that go?
It's so funny. Like I think
Start with the beginning,
the beginning.
like the lacrosse beginning. I mean, because it started.
It started with lacrosse,
Yeah.
and
Wait, you were being recruited for lacrosse?
yeah, and
Okay.
that's like what I thought I was going to do in college. First, it was lacrosse.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had the first phone call. I was, a freshman.
Yeah, you were-
I mean, then
Jen
that's-
Oh,
played-
you could still call back then.
back then.
Yeah,
She
back
hadn't
then,
played
yeah,
you hadn't played a high school game yet.
and it wasn't
Really?
because
Yeah, it was
just
crazy.
the timeline of
Yeah.
how they
Yep.
operated, but
So they saw you playing club ball, or how'd they
Yeah.
know?
yeah, it was it
Yeah.
in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it really, like, I'm thinking back, it's like an interview essentially.
Yes, yeah.
And at 14 years old, like, I will say I had those early not interviews, early calls. The coaches were great. And I learned a lot how to just talk to people about things, like about anything really. But it was so interesting. Like, you're so young and they ask you like what you want to study or what you think you want to study. And I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't even
I'm
like,
just trying to get through algebra.
yeah, or like the summer. Like I just like, yeah. And it's stressful. I mean, I don't want to say obviously, because I feel like sometimes it might get glamorized, because it is cool. You're talking to college coaches who are like, you see them on TV, you see them on socials, and you see them here, they did this. But you're also like, your future depends on it, quote unquote. Like,
Right.
I know but I mean, I'm thinking back, I don't know how it is like nowadays with everything in the transfer portal, but like, I was deciding to go to a school that I was going to be at for 4 years and go to like classes,
Right.
play a sport, be a part of a program that I wanted to go to and go to a school that I really wanted to go to. And I remember, and I'm kind of going in a different way, but I remember my dad being like, go to a school that, let's say you had a career-ending injury and you couldn't play
Right.
field hockey or lacrosse anymore, would you still want to go to the school? And I can say like proudly with everything inside me, yes, 100%.
Right.
But it's not easy. And throughout the process, there's like, it's like, how interested are they? Like you get these phone calls and you talk, and then it's like there's long periods without talking. You might go to a camp, there's no communication, and it's so, I mean, again, I don't know how it is now with like the timelines of things.
Right. It is different.
But I remember like at one point, the only way they could kind of see you play was if you go to their camps. And I hated going to camps. They were just so stressful. And I know that's what you have to do. But I remember like signing up for camps for this school. And again, that's what you have to do to be seen
Right.
and to get on campus. But that was really stressful for me. And I also think, because going back to that original conversation, like I would compare myself to these girls and be like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't belong at a Penn State field hockey camp. Like, I shouldn't be at this like lacrosse camp with these top coaches. Like, and that was like that was on me for not, I don't know if it's giving myself enough credit or just doing what I know how to do, not trying to be someone else. But I remember just being super stressed and comparing myself at these camps and everything.
Well, it's like you felt like a tryout.
Yeah,
I mean, in
and
some ways it
essentially
is.
it was.
I mean, they
It
are.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
like they say it's not, but it is. I mean, that's
is,
kind
right.
of what why they do them, I guess. Thinking back to like, well, I ended up at Penn State, thank God, but that process with Penn State was tough. Like I remember talking to the coaches early, and there was interest, and I remember being like, this is crazy, like Penn State, whatever. But I, was excited, went to some camps, and then like they were kind of like, never mind, you're
Yeah.
not a scholarship athlete. And I like remember thinking like, wow, like I felt like I got broken up with. It was like, because I kind of set my brain on this almost like
Right.
this could be everything I'd want. And maybe that's, like something I would recommend in this process of recruiting, like keep your options open. Now, things ended up working out. I'm glad I didn't keep my options too open, but
Right.
I'm just kidding. I just mean like a place you may not think about, like keep the doors open, and
Right.
and don't put all your eggs in one basket, because it really, you don't always know how the coaches feels about you. And it's not just you as a player, like there is so much more, and you would know more than I would about like they're looking for this player and this position. Like maybe at that time when they said, Carly, you're not a scholarship athlete, maybe they didn't need another forward. Maybe they had their forward line set and they were good. There's so much more that
Right.
I don't know. So making sure that like, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket to some extent, and also that it's not the end of the world. Like I feel like I acted like, wow, well, I'm done. Like,
yeah, I mean, we
Guys,
did.
like-
We made a conscious effort, or I made a conscious effort, with Carr to say, like, take the call.
Yeah.
If somebody was interested, take the call, especially early. Later on, we started to kind of like,
Yeah.
all right, like we're not seeing that. But early on, it was A, to practice talking to people. B, you're 14, 15 years old at the
don't know.
time. Again, it has changed. And then it was just like, yes, like be open as much as you can,
Yeah.
So was there ever a time where you didn't want to follow your dad's advice, where you didn't want to take the call?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sure
I
there
have
was-
Your
one.
dad's changing color, so I know the answer is yes.
Well, you go.
Well, I was going to say the only
sensing.
thing and this may not be true, but I think at one point you probably felt, and you can correct me, but that I wanted you to play lacrosse. I mean, and yeah, and then I think
Yeah.
that was probably not anything. Well, I don't know about the
Oh, so
other
you were
stuff.
getting calls for both sports.
Yeah.
Yes, the first calls were lacrosse, and so I think I maybe it tipped the scale when she and I flew down to Florida to play for this I don't know,
showcase
something, and like it yes, I mean, I always knew, I will say, that Carly was a good enough athlete.
Right.
Like and I mean athlete, not like not in like a lacrosse player, not a field hockey player, but I knew probably in 8th grade or so that she was a good enough athlete to play in college. And my recommendation in a lot of ways is like, I probably didn't emphasize that enough with her, because Car's probably comparing, as she said, comparing herself with this field hockey player who has all these skills and this, whatever lacrosse player who can shoot behind the back, and that was a disaster. But like, but really it was like her superpower was her athleticism, her speed,
work.
strength, competitiveness. I don't know if but I would say the part that maybe, to your question, was just the kind of lacrosse. And I think that was a big decision.
Yeah.
And it was as weird as it is, it was probably a great relief in the house. Like, just, it was like, oh, okay. Then it was like, let's get rid of club lacrosse. Let's like emphasize field hockey. But Carr was very clear that she wanted to keep playing all 3 sports. Yeah. And I was a huge proponent, as is Mo. And I think that's why Carr didn't get hurt. I think, like, I believe all those things and learned so much about, with basketball and just how to drop your hips, how to do, like, just all these different things that translated into field hockey. So,
So you were doing camps and showcases for lacrosse and field hockey at one point, and taking calls for both sports.
It was quick, though.
So it was a short period of time.
It was a month and a half of field hockey. I mean, I'm sorry, of lacrosse calls. Would you think that's fair? It was like December and January. Yeah. And then you were like, you know what? I'm not going to go to that school. Who asked you to come down? I'm not going to go to. And it was like, then I think it was like almost the early February that you were like, I'm done with lacrosse. Like,
right, so
recruiting.
Once she was done, you accepted it, right? And so there weren't really a lot of times when you didn't do what your mom and dad wanted you to do, and that was just take the call. You took the call until it was like, no more lacrosse. Yeah, right?
And I didn't. I'm one, glad I did, and two, like I did do a lot that my parents said, but not in a way, like they never, what I give them a lot of credit, they never put pressure on me. Like I never felt like I needed to play in college. Like I feel like sometimes kids feel pressure from their parents.
They have
like,
to,
like, or, to go to this school and to do this. Like I am so thankful I took their advice on things, but it was never to the point where I felt like I was like, this is too much. I can't do this. Like they would just like feed me, advice, things that I wanted because I wanted it, not because it was their dream and not mine. Like it was always my, my decisions, my goals, my dreams, which I'm appreciative of.
All right. So you got to the point where it was field hockey. Your heart was set on Penn State, and then the guy broke up with you.
Yes, essentially, yes, yeah.
And then, so your heart broken at home, and what happens from there?
So my parents actually with this, they kept saying, just stay engaged with Penn State. Like just kind of, my mom insisted I make
even
like
though they said, okay.
And that was, I did not feel comfortable with that. Like my mom wanted me to make a highlight tape. Like that's not me, but that's what you do.
That's a requirement now. I mean, I don't know if it was then or not,
and that's just, it's what you do, but that just wasn't me. Again, because I'm not this like fancy player, really. Right. So again, this is all my insecurities, but my parents kept pushing it, and I would like send them emails, and it's almost like my job now, follow-ups and just kind of keeping touch points, which is kind of funny thinking about that now.
Carly's in sales for the audience.
And I would do it, but I was like, it was more my parents just be like, if you're going to this tournament, like make a note to Penn State and whatever. And so I'd be like, okay, sure.
But you would do it.
I would do it. And then while that was happening, I was pursuing, I guess you would say, other schools.
Yeah.
It didn't feel the same, like internally, but I was kind of like, well, what am I going to do now? Like I have to
move on,
go to other camps, move on. Yeah. But then thank God my parents kept pushing me, because at the one tournament that I don't even know if I wanted to go to, it was like the festival tournament. I had to miss Thanksgiving. I was just kind of like, And I I just felt kind of like these schools I was talking to wasn't the place. I feel like I was kind of hitting like what's next? Like,
Right.
where is this going? But thankfully, I sent a note to Penn State, and my coach, well, my ended up being my coaches, saw me there, and it kind of rekindled stuff. And
Right.
then from there, it's funny. It sounds like a relationship. From there, things like developed.
Right.
And once they expressed that they were interested, even I was like, I mean, I don't see anywhere else. And it wasn't even, it wasn't like this, you know, I wouldn't even say insane. It was like you're going to be a scholarship athlete, barely, but you are.
Right.
And to me, that's all I needed, because that is the school I needed to go to. And I know
Right.
that it sounds like almost too much. But it was where I was meant to go. And
Right.
I mean,
That's wonderful.
yeah, and I can't. I'm so thankful they took a chance on me, because I wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't go there.
Please join us next week for part 2 of our interview with Carly Gannon.
Thanks for watching the show today. I had a great time talking with Nick, as I always do. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Visit us on social media. Also, go to our website if you've got comments, questions, you want to call me an ugly name, thenickanthonyshow.com. There's a place to do it there. Give us your email address so you never miss an episode. Thank you very much. We'll see you next show.